everyone, so I had this little model kit that I made in a previous video ages ago, but obviously I like to give these a bit of a spooky makeover and make them look like abandoned rooms. So yeah, I needed to repaint this. First thing I did was remove the hinges. I tend to just break these off if I have bothered to screw them in, because they're an absolute pain to get back out. And I wanted to glue the front back on, because I don't like having the hinged front on it, because all it does is keeps coming open when it's hanging up on the wall. Hence the bit of sellotape on the other side that's holding it shut. So I like to take these off and I just glue the fronts back on afterwards. And also I don't mind if it looks a bit battered and stuff, because I like to make it look like it's a bit battered and old, and even the frames I like to make them look a bit old and tatty as well. First job was to remove everything out of the piece, because I needed to get rid of the really naff wallpaper. And then, as you can see here, what I'm doing now, first of all I started looking to see if I could just bend some stuff over and change things, but then I was like, no, I need to get rid of that wallpaper. So it's just a case of popping everything out. Obviously I only hot glue stuff in, and I only use a little bit of hot glue, so it is fairly easy to remove if I want to. As you can see, it just all snaps off. The light is obviously attached via the back, and I wanted to leave the light in for this one, so I can have it light up at the night time. So it's just a case of taking off any last traces of hot glue. As you can see, there's just a few little sort of strings of hot glue that I'd use to stick the base on, because I do use the smallest amount I can, and off the painted surface of this box it did just peel off. There was a couple of bits that wouldn't move, but it doesn't matter because it added to the texture of the wall in the end anyway, so it was no big problem. So here I'm just picking off glue that's going to get in my way or look obvious or unsightly. It did take a little while just to get this glue off, and there was a couple of bits I couldn't get off, but most of it, just once you can get like one end lifted up, it does peel off. That's one thing I like about hot glue, is the fact it'll stay on until you remove it, but it is fairly easy to remove. Then I needed to repair the light because I knocked the top off peeling the wallpaper off, and I stuck this on slightly wonky because obviously I want this to look like it's a bit battered now, and you know, it's a bit damaged because, you know, it hasn't been maintained or repaired for a long time. And then I put a little dab of glue on the wall just to hold it up, because obviously originally it was glued to the wallpaper to hold it in position. And later on I'll like paint it up to make it look dirty and stuff. The next thing to do was to sort out the furniture. Now the furniture, because obviously to save costs on the kit, like this piece of furniture had a piece of paper at the back to look like the back of the cupboard. I replaced it with a small piece of wood to actually make it a solid wood structure, which you'll see me do in a bit. First thing though was to break it, make the shelves look wobbly, remove everything that I could from the shelves. That shell that's there just didn't want to come off, so I just left it. And here I'm gluing the shelves slightly wonky, and I'm bending the back a little bit because I want it to look like this cupboard is starting to collapse, and it will collapse at any moment, or you know, another month or so it will collapse completely. I've got a lot of this, well, I've got a fair bit of this like balsa wood stuff knocking around in my kit. It's just thin little sheets of balsa wood I got from the craft store. It's just useful for little models and things like this, and I used that to make a new back for this little like bookshelf thing. It was just a case of adding some glue to the back of the shelves. I had to remove the cupboard because it was getting in my way, and then I just trimmed off the excess. It hasn't got to be perfect because obviously this is supposed to look like an abandoned room, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but it just gives a backing to those shelves. And then I glued them back onto the cupboard that they were originally on, And obviously what I did is I glued the back on to match with the shape of the collapsing shelves. And then I stuck a door on one key, took a couple of door handles off, and then this piece of wood gave me a nice flat surface to help me glue this onto the box again, and make it nice and secure. So I put that back into place. And then for the chair, I needed to batter the chair up a little bit. So what I did was I took my scissors to cut a hole in the cushion, which unfortunately is slightly out of shot on this bit. So I cut a hole in the cushion and then pulled some of the stuffing out. And then I went around the chair with my craft knife, just cutting into the fabric and bashing it up. You can use a Dremel with like the sanding end on, but I couldn't be bothered to get the Dremel out. But cutting into the fabric with the craft knife did the job. And I wanted lots of little holes and stuff. I want it to look like maybe like some rats or something have made it, or mice have made a home in this chair, or just that the fabric's breaking down, that sort of thing. So I'm just making it look battered. And then I removed the glue from where I'd got the table stuck in place, and I needed to glue the chair back in. So I glued the chair back into its place, and it's literally just 4 little blobs of glue, one on each leg. I left the legs on. I was contemplating making it look like the legs have fell off, but I just did it so it was ever so slightly wonky. I still wanted to use the legs. And then it was a case of sticking the table back together. So I stuck the base on first. And then for the table, I removed anything that needed to be repainted. I left the fabric on because what I wanted to do was just paint that to make it look filthy. And the book that was on the top of the table, I just ripped the cover off and then used a wash of black and brown acrylic paint with lots of water to really dirty that up. I wanted it to look like the water's been coming through for the ceiling for a long time, and you know, stuff's starting to get all mouldy and disgusting. And obviously that's what I wanted to make this table look like. And then it's just a case of gluing the stand back on and gluing it back onto the base. I did have the chair in slightly the wrong position, so I did have to move the chair slightly to get that back in. Never mind. And then I'm using little washes of the watered down acrylic paint to dirty everything up. I want this settee, this chair, to look like it's really dark and mouldy, it's full of mildew, I just want it to look disgusting. And I started doing washes over the cupboard, but because of the paint that was on the cupboard, it didn't really do much, to be fair. So I started adding more and more paint, and I did washes of thinned down black and brown acrylic paint, just in dabbing motions and streaks here and there. I just was very messy with the brush, not trying to get everything perfectly smooth or anything. Lots of quick dabbing brush strokes, and just kept applying layers of paint until I was happy with how the cupboard looked. It took a few layers to get it how I wanted, but I don't mind it. Sometimes you do have to just apply more layers and do it bit by bit. Then once I was happy with the objects I'd placed back on and dirtied all those up as well, I worked on the walls. Just layers of black and brown acrylic paint and different washes. I added a bit of fake moss and loads of little bits of leaves and broken up flower petals and things to look like more leaves and bits of wood and stuff, and put those in. And I put a couple of branches at the top, and then painted the frame, made the frame look distressed, and then added some sort of fake cobwebs with hot glue on the frame, and that's what it looked like. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.